Hello and welcome to the Olympic Aquatic Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. This is the preliminary session on day 3 of the swimming competition at the 2016 Paralympic Games. And certainly in the opening 2 days of competition, we've had an enthralling number of events, world records broken, 25 world records in total on the opening 2 days of competition in the pool. 18 of those have come in the final sessions. So certainly we are in for some rather intriguing action once again as day 3 gets underway. People's Republic of China have been the dominant force in the pool, but there are some incredible swimmers in action. Now, one of the events to look out for today is the women's 100-meter breaststroke SB7. The heats swum in the preliminary session, which will see Jessica Long and Elizabeth Marks going head-to-head. Their times separated by 1/100th of a second. A load of other events, which we'll see, including others. United States Roy Perkins Jr. go up against Daniel Jesh of the host nation. Rebecca Myers, the reigning world champion in the women's 200 IM, is also going to be in action today, and plenty to look forward to in the men's 100-meter backstroke for S10. Justin Zook, Oliver van der Voort having broken his world record in recent times, and the young Dutch swimmer up against a few veterans of the pool, the likes of Andre Brazil and Benoit Roy of Canada. So much to look forward to on day 3 of competition. This temporary venue that has served as the aquatics centre for the Olympic Games and now the Paralympic Games of Rio 2016. We'll look down at the 10 lanes, 8 of which are used for competition. A very simple format, no more than 8 swimmers in any given heat. Fastest 8 swimmers, or indeed relay teams on any given day, qualify for the final of that event. Nearly 600 swimmers will be in action over the 10 days of swimming competition at Rio 2016. 80 events for men, 71 for women, and a mixed relay event. It was won by China over Brazil. Is a real collection of nations in the arena as well, and a few, I don't want to say surprise medalists, but a few upset medalists in the pool throughout the opening 2 days of competition. Spain amongst those, winning a first medal in the pool on day 2.
We saw Colombia on the podium as well. Canada winning a gold last night. The Canadians are out in support for this preliminary session today. The crowd now starting to fill in. The final session really does see a lot of local support. In the final session on day 2, Brazil won those 2 medals to really give the home crowd something to get excited about.
We get underway with the men's 100-meter breaststroke SB7. This is event 33 of the Paralympic swimming competition. The first of 2 heats sees Evan Austin, Blake Cochran, Tomotaro Nakamura and Hong Yang go head-to-head. Gold and silver medalists from 4 years ago in action. Carlos Serrano Zarate, the world record holder, while Blake Cochran, the defending champion, is the Paralympic record holder. The athletes to be coming out shortly. Wonderful look at this magnificent venue. This Olympic pool, 50 meters from end to end. Four athletes out. Nakamura of Japan. Alongside him going in lane 6, Hong Yang of China. Getting off very quickly, Blake Cochran of Australia, the 25-year-old, just really going off the gun. And into his stroke nicely, going in lane 4. Alongside him, Evan Austin of USA, looking to make up pace between the flags. Well, an opportunity for Nakamura to impress once again. He's got a long, long stroke, a great kick. And a little space not opening up. Threatened to open up. It's been closed down now by Nakamura and indeed Yang going in 6.
Well, what a great start from Cochran, but now the rest of the field have just come back on him, and first at the turn, it's still Cochran, but only a few hundredths of a second ahead of Austin. And now again, that wonderful underwater phase at the Australian, where he takes his advantage. And now Blake Cochran starting to take the lead, but coming on his outside. Yang Hong of People's Republic of China having a good second 50 in this race. This is the preliminaries. It's the top 8 that go through into the final, but the Paralympic record holder, Blake Cochran, just leading.
Well, showing his class here, Blake Cochran, the type of swimmer who is able to control a race. His Paralympic record of 1:18.77. He's certainly gone far quicker than that, over 2 seconds quicker, in fact. And he's able to control this race. He's going to touch in around 1:20, or 1:20.08, touches ahead of Yang, with Nakamura touching for 3rd. All 3 will confidently advance to the finals. It's going to be a wait for Evan Austin to see whether or not he advances to the final of the men's 100-meter breaststroke SB7. Again, Blake Cochran, silver in 2008, gold in 2012. Nakamura, he's medaled twice in this event, going back to Athens in 2004.
Looking cool and collected in the qualifiers. The Paralympic record holder, already gone 2 seconds quicker since 2012. I think there'll be more to come when they compete again in the final. Just using this to warm up, get himself a good lane in the final, winning heat number 1 comfortably there.
Confirmation of the results. Blake Cochran touches ahead of Yang Hong of People's Republic of China. Japan's Tomotaro Nakamura touches 3rd. Evan Austin will wait to see if he advances to the final. Going in heat 2 of the men's 100 breaststroke SB7. Carlo Magno of Argentina, Chen, China. Watch out for Serrano Zarate of Colombia, who gets off to a very impressive start. He goes in lane 4 alongside young Dutch swimmer Simon Boer. Rudy Garcia-Tolson, the great para-athlete who's competed in both swimming and athletics and medaled in both swimming and athletics. An opportunity for him in lane 6 to advance to the final. But showing his class is the world record holder over this distance, the young Colombian talent, Carlos Serrano Zarate, 18 years old, and that pink cap just flying towards the 50 wall.
Well, he's really another class compared to the rest of the field as he turns way ahead of the rest of this heat. He holds the world record, and he might well be looking to break that in the finals. Really going out hard, harder than he maybe needs to, but getting a good swim under his belt in these preliminaries, and currently even challenging his own world record in the heats.
Well, when he won the World Championship in Glasgow last year, he swam a 1:16.68. He's bettered that already by over 2 seconds, and it looks like he's going to break his own world record here. He's laying down a real marker in the preliminaries. In the men's 100-meter breaststroke SB7, Carlos Serrano Zarate touches in world record time in the heats, a 1:14.01. Second is going to go on his outside to Simon Boer, the Dutch swimmer, while Chen of China touches in 3rd. Already a bronze medalist in the 50 free. He's looking in his favourite event not only to claim the gold, but to better his world mark. He's done so already with a fine swim, 0.67 of a second off his world record time in the second heat of 2. the first world record on day 3.
And the youngster looking delighted. He really wanted to take that on. Didn't have anyone pushing him on either side, and laying down the mark. He'll be the fastest seed in the final, and I'm sure will be wanting to break his world record again. Just seems to continue to lower that world record time. A young Colombian. He was delighted on the podium for his 53, and that was the bronze.
So Colombia ahead of Netherlands, ahead of China, Serrano Zarate ahead of Chen. So the swimmers who advanced to the final, Rudy Garcia Tolson just manages to sneak in. Evan Austin from the opening heat gets in as well, but a race on the cards between Serrano Zarate and the defending champion Blake Cochran of Australia. This is event 34, the first heat of 2 in the women's 100-meter breaststroke SB7, and this is a race you can look forward to. Jessica Long, 19-time Paralympic medalist, goes in lane 4. Now, she is the world record holder, set at Bismarck in the United States 4 years ago with a 1:28.53. Hasn't been swimming quite as quickly in recent times and has already been defeated in 2 of her favorite events. Jessica Long not very quick off the starting blocks, but boy does she make up for it underwater, and already into the lead by the time she breaks the water. Fantastic streamline from Jessica Long, the 24-year-old, already bronze in the 100 fly and silver in the 400 free. 2 of her favorite events, 2 events in which she was defending champion. She is defending champion yet again coming into this event, but she is going to have a battle royale on her hands throughout this race. She wants to also lay down a message of intent in the preliminaries.
Well, on her left shoulder, Oksana Krul also with a point to prove, having won the silver and a bronze so far at these Paralympic Games. Both of these athletes are looking for the gold medal in this women's 100-meter breaststroke. Jessica Long laying the gauntlet down at the first 50 meters, leading by over almost 2 seconds over Krul on her right-hand side, and that underwater phase that Jessica Long really does use to extend her advantage. And now she's in her rhythm, she's got clean water, and it's going to be a battle for second, third and fourth, very close at the moment for third and fourth, the rest of the pool.
Well, Jessica Long, a double amputee, can't really match the pull-out of some of the strongest swimmers in this event, but she's got such a fine stroke. Just engages the lats as she pulls herself through the water, and that propels her towards the wall. She's going to be relatively slow for her impressive times in her incredible and exemplary career, but she's going to touch in a 1:34.48, well ahead of Oksana Krul, the 21-year-old, also 2-time medalist in Rio 2016 already, while Almeida of Brazil touches in third, the 41-year-old physical education teacher. But Jessica Long saving a little energy here, and Oksana Krul alongside her. There is Long. Bronze in the 100 fly, silver in the 400 free, to add to the 17 Paralympic medals she had coming into Rio 2016.
Well, there was just a little shake of the head as Long looked up at the clock, maybe not too impressed with her time. A long way off her own world record. This is just the qualifiers. She'll be hoping to improve on that time, and she might well need to improve on that time if she's to regain that title. Gliding to the wall. A nice smooth touch there, but a little disappointed with her time maybe. What more can she produce in the finals?
So Jessica Long touches ahead of Oksana Krul, and to the delight of the home faithful, Veronica Almeida, looking to make the medal podium, touches third. This is heat 2 of 2 in the women's 100-meter breaststroke SB7. Watch out for lane number 4, 26-year-old US Army Sergeant Elizabeth Marks. She's only 1/100th of a second outside of Jessica Long's world record. hosted as a qualifying time for the Paralympic Games. Meehan and Routliffe of Canada go in lanes 2 and 3. Marks of the United States in 4. Den Braber of the Netherlands goes in 5. Wegeman of the United States in 6. And Finland's Mäkinen in 7. But at the moment it is the pool of Elizabeth Marks who leads. Based in Colorado currently, the combat medic who is looking to challenge Jessica Long for the gold medal in this event, the women's 100-meter breaststroke SB7. She's not disappointing, although she's not pulling away from either Routliffe or indeed Wegeman.
Routliffe trying to stick with her, but at the turn, Elizabeth Marks well ahead. Almost 3 seconds ahead at that turn. She'll have the eye on getting that fastest time. She's seen her compatriot Long a little bit disappointed with her time in the first heat, and how can Elizabeth Marks react to that? She'll be wanting to go in as fast as seed, and at the moment she's well ahead of the time in heat number 1, not far off the world record. Her personal best, 100th of a second off that. She's looking to be towards her personal best right now.
Well, she's very strong, particularly off the blocks, and indeed she's got a magnificent turn, and that's where she really makes up for it, does Elizabeth Marks. But it's going to be a ding-dong battle between the two come final time. Jessica Long who won heat 1, and indeed the victor here of heat 2, Elizabeth Marks. A Paralympic record, a 1:28.83, and Den Braber, a little touch at the wall, comes in second, with Routliffe of Canada touching in third overall. Wegeman came home fourth. She would have harbour ambitions of being a medalist. Meehan of Canada touches fifth, while sixth is Mäkinen of Finland. The 24-year-old touches in 1:59.79, dips under the 2-minute mark, but it's Marks who, as expected, romped to victory. Paralympic record time, 1:28.83. She's in fine form, 0.3 of a second off the world record.
Well, not far off her own personal best. And with no one to push her, this could be an exciting race in the final when teammates go head to head. The world record holder and her teammate just 100th of a second behind on personal best. What can they deliver when swimming alongside each other in what's going to be a very exciting final?
I think the one to look out for, somebody who could spoil the party, Lisa Den Braber, one of this Dutch crop that is coming along, finished second overall. And that's Mallory Wegeman. She would also fancy a medal placing. Well, Wegeman finishing fourth in the second heat. Marks ahead of Den Braber, Routliffe of Canada third overall. But they are all comfortably through to the final of the women's 100-meter breaststroke SB7. Marks qualifies fastest, Den Braber qualifying second fastest. Long, who had her race under control, qualifies third fastest, but we're set for a real final with the likes of Wegeman, Krul, Routliffe, even Almeida, prospective medalists. Well, Brazil quite literally has everybody dancing to their tune.
The crowd getting warmed up for another action-packed session here at the Olympic Aquatic Stadium. The men's 50 freestyle S6. Heat 1 of 3 heats for this event. The first heat will see the world record holder, reigning Paralympic champion, Zhu King, go in lane 4. Dolphin of Italy, Semenenko, bronze medalist in the 100-meter backstroke already, is in lane 2 for Ukraine. Osorio Campaz for Colombia, finalist in the 50 fly. Zhu, the favourite in lane 4. Alexander Komarov, the Ukrainian, will go in 5. Sasha Kindred, one of the more experienced athletes in the field for Great Britain. First competed at Paralympic Games in 1996, and will go in lane number 6. And then Valdez Martinez, the Mexican, competes in lane 7. Now the world record holder, Paralympic record holder, the time posted 4 years ago, 28.57. Zhu King, he is the man to beat. Going in the first heat of 3 in this men's 50 freestyle S6. In lane 5, Alexander Komarov, hoping to challenge the world record holder. The starter just asking the athletes to stand down. There was some movement on the block, and the starter requires silence from the crowd and no movement from the athletes on the block. They're called up again. That time they were underway with a very brief pause and off to an incredible start. It's Zhu Qing, the world record holder, putting his mark down straight away in the lead at 25 meters, having a good comeback out in lane 2. Semenenko, the red cap, Ukraine, going well. But Zhu King, we saw him bring home the relay in the 4x50 mixed event in day 2. And just gliding into the finish. A strong finish as well by Komarov for Ukraine, and Osorio Campaz touching for the 3rd place. But it's all about the times to make it through to the final. 30.82 for Zhu King. Almost 2 seconds off his own personal best and own world record. There'll be more to come in the final, no doubt.
Well, he's got plenty left in reserve, Zhu Qing, and the way he glided to the line is evidence enough. He was a little slow off the starting blocks, and that might concern him, particularly heading into a competitive final like the men's 50 free, where you really need to give yourself a chance of a medal by exploding off the blocks. But by the time he got into his stroke, Zhu Qing propelling himself through the water at such incredible pace and glides in toward the wall. Komarov on his outside, doing enough to touch in 2nd.
Well, there's the results from Heat 1 and the times that will count. The world record holder, Zhu Qing, fastest in Heat 1 of 3. The 2nd heat for this men's 50 freestyle S6. The fastest seed going in lane 4, Lorenzo Perez Elcano. The Cuban athlete won the silver medal at the London Games. You will have noticed that time posted in Heat 1. On his right-hand side, Zheng Tao, one to watch in lane 5. The men's 50 freestyle. A very strong start for lane number 5, Zheng Tao. We've seen him dominate already in the pool, but now starting to come back. The silver medalist from London Perez Escalona using that long stroke now as he powers ahead to the final stages. Zheng Tao using that dolphin motion, trying to hold off to touch in second, but the leader, Lorenzo Perez Escalona, looking comfortable in that heat. Van Hofwegen, a strong finish to touch in second, and Zheng Tao just touched out into the third position in this second heat. There's Escalona, winner of Heat 2, and the 30.24. Still a long way off his best.
Again, so quick off the blocks was Zheng Tao, already a gold medalist in the 100 back and a silver medalist in the 50 fly. Needs to make it count off the starting block. This time just couldn't quite hold on at the very end, but a fine swim by Perez Escalona.
Well, Perez Escalona, the fastest time posted so far out of the first two heats. Should see him safely into the final. Just one heat left to go, this men's 50 freestyle S6. Heat number 3. The bronze medalist from 3 years ago at the World Championships, Nelson Crispin Corzo, the fastest seed in this final heat. And out in lane 7, Adriano de Lima, Brazilian, causing the crowd to get excited ahead of heat number 3. And a good start in the centre of the pool for Crispin Corzo. Alongside him still, Jiao Hongguang, the Chinese athlete. And now Crispin Corzo starting to get into his stroke. A little bit of an advantage, but it's very close between these two athletes. Gia and Crispin Corzo really having a battle between them, and it's going to come down to the finish. Incredibly close in this heat. And just at the touch, it's Gia from China who touches ahead of Crispin Corzo. Pineapple for Australia, coming home in third. Jia Hongguang, 29.66, the first athlete to drop under the 30-second barrier here in qualifiers. Just touched out the Colombian, also going under that 30-second marker, making him the second fastest seed into the final.
Well, certainly it's always good to have somebody pushing you along on your outside, and for Jia Hongguang, the 28-year-old backstroke silver medalist at 100 meters, had the world champion. He's in fact 2013 and 2015 world champion, Nelson Crispin Corzo, alongside him, and the two driving one another along, separated by 0.02 of a second at the wall. But an intriguing final awaits. The two quickest qualifiers will go alongside one another again in the final.
Well, that was a close finish. I'll just decide the lane draws between Jia Hongguang and Nelson Crispin Corzo. They are the only two athletes to drop under that 30-second barrier in qualifying. So the 8 that make it through, it's a dead heat for the Colombian and Netherlands to make it into the final later on. The women's 50 freestyle S6, first of the 3 heats in this competition. Emanuele Romano, the Italian, will be hoping to threaten Tiffany Thomas-Kane. Fastest 2 seeds go in lanes 4 and 5, Australia and Italy. Well, it's a strong start for Tiffany Thomas-Kane. Already has a bronze from the sprint events in the 50-meter butterfly. She is off to a consistent race here. Now on her left shoulder, Nicole Turner of Ireland having a good first half of this race. Tiffany Thomas-Kane, the Australian, the one to beat in heat number 1, this women's 50 freestyle S6. and having a great race. Nicole Turner of Ireland still in second place as they come to the final few metres. The win easily there for Tiffany Thomas-Kane, the Australian. A great finish for Nicole Turner, touching second for Ireland. And Emanuela Romano, the Italian, finishing in third. 35.27. Little outside her best for Tiffany Thomas-Kane. Smile there for Nicole Turner. Also just outside her best, but sees herself second position in the first heat of 3. Tiffany Thomas-Kane tops heat number 1 ahead of Turner and Romano. So heat number 2 of the women's 50 freestyle S6. We have the reigning world champion going in lane 4. Yelizaveta Mereshko, Ukraine. Her teammate Oksana Krul alongside Krul, who's won a silver and a bronze so far. Lane 6 sees Mexico's Gonzalez alongside Krul and Mereshko. First time we're seeing Great Britain's Ellie Simmons compete in the pool. This is day 3. And we're off for the women's 50 freestyle S6. Great underwater phase for Krul. We saw her compete in 100 just moments ago. Has that taken anything out of her? Because now Mereshko, the Ukrainian, really finds her rhythm. She, the gold medalist, the reigning world champion, streaking ahead, leaving her teammate Oksana Krul to battle it out for second and third, but easily through Mereshko, a new Paralympic record, touching ahead of Ellie Simmons in second and Gonzalez for Mexico touching in third. Well, putting the marker down, Yelizaveta Mereshko. New Paralympic record for the Ukrainian, 33.53. Just half a second off the world record.
Well, Mereshko didn't get off to a great start, certainly doesn't have the speed off the blocks, and that is where Krul made up for it, but getting into a stroke, Mereshko was superb and came home confidently in a very quick 33.53, just over half a second outside the world record time, and worryingly for her, just a little zigzagging in the lane going on, but still touching quick enough to lay down a marker.
Just rubbing her back there. She got out of the pool. See what she can deliver when it comes to the final. Mereshko, that new Paralympic record. Eleanor Simmons, 36.44, the first event for the multiple medalist from Great Britain. Heat 3, the women's 50 freestyle S6. The one to watch. Ukraine's Victoria Sapsova, gold medalist at the World Championships in 2013. Silver behind her teammate last year. And the world record holder from this year. She's got a point to prove, having won the silver at the World Championships in 2015. Well, there's young Ellie Robinson after the gold in day 2 in that 50-meter butterfly, showing her sprinting credentials. Starter just asking the athletes to step down. Might have been some movement on the block. The start so important in these sprint events. The world record holder goes in lane 4. Victoria Sapsova. Alongside her, yes, gold medalist Ellie Robinson from the 50-meter butterfly.
Take your marks.
And a good start from Ellie Robinson, feeling confident after her victory on day 2, leading in the early stages ahead of the world record holder on her left, Sapsova. It looks as though Robinson and Sapsova are going to battle it out in this women's 50 freestyle S6. Going well out in lane 3. Song Ling Ling already won the backstroke event, and these 3 battle it out to the finish. It's going to be incredibly close and just getting the touch. It's Sapsova ahead of Robinson and Song touching in 3rd. All 3 of these athletes already won medals here in Rio 2016. But the winner, the reigning world record holder, Sapsova, in a 34.68. Not a quick time, but it'll put her comfortably into the final. Song just looking up at the clock. She'll have to wait and see. Finished in 3rd.
Came very quickly off the starters' blocks, but Sapsova, you expect her to be the swimmer to beat, and certainly when you look over all the times, only Mereshko's managed to go quicker in the pool, but Ellie Robinson is never going to be discounted when you talk about medal contenders, and touches not too far behind, just over 0.3 of a second behind Sapsova.
Sapsova almost 2 seconds off her world record pace, still winning heat number 3 ahead of Robinson and Song. So the top 8 through to the final. Ukraine, the teammates Mereshko and Sapsova will have a battle on. Ellie Robinson for Great Britain, starting as 3rd favourite.
This is the men's 50 fly S5, the first heat of 2, which sees the top-ranked swimmer in the world over this distance, Roy Perkins, go in lane 4. So it is Masusi, Abdel Salam, Siga, Perkins, Pineda Castro, Zapatakis and Djuric. But Roy Perkins, silver medalist 4 years ago, gold medalist 8 years ago, the 26-year-old, born without hands or feet, but encouraged from a very young age to participate in sport. One rule his family had was you had to try it at least once before you decided you didn't like it. Turns out he liked swimming, and it's been very good to Roy Perkins. 3-time Paralympian coming into Rio 2016, a 6-time medalist, and already a bronze in the 200 free for the favourite in this event. But it's first the heats in the preliminary session on day 3 of competition. Roy Perkins looking to find his way through to the final. Quick reaction time going in lane 3 from Jamari Siga of Malaysia, but once we get into the pool, the big stroke of Edgar Hugo Pinedo Castro of Mexico is putting pressure on Perkins, but he'll be confident of making that up between the flags. Certainly Perkins is cries of Roy support and encouragement, and he's just pulling ahead, so confident in the water, and propels himself through the water with such pace. is capable of going sub 35 seconds, and he touches just outside that mark, 35.75. Alongside him, though, is Pinedo Castro, who touches second quickest, while Djuric, an S4 swimmer, it must be noted, rather than an S5 swimmer, is third quickest. And had a very good time indeed for Djuric, a new personal best for him of 40.99, but Roy Perkins living up to his billing. Top-ranked swimmer in the world over this distance, and a former Paralympic gold medalist. But Pineda, strong second placing. 39.2 is a little disappointing for Pineda, but he'll just be wanting to get a decent lane draw for the final.
Well, it was a smooth start for Perkins, and then didn't really look flustered at any point throughout this sprint. A little bit of his personal best, but he wasn't pressured, and he'll be hoping to up his game when it comes to the final. He'll be comfortably through with that time.
So Roy Perkins does touch nearly 4 seconds ahead of Hugo Pinedo Castro. Djuric, an S4 swimmer, managing to go sub 41 seconds for a personal best. Well, the noise will increase significantly for the second heat of 2 in the men's 50 butterfly S5. His home favourite, Daniel Diaz, will go in lane 4, the defending champion, the reigning world champion in this distance. In his third event of 9 at Rio 2016. He goes in lane 4, but don't discount Andrew Mullen of Great Britain. Andrew Mullen has been having a great time of things lately, having made his international debut as a 14-year-old in 2011. But Darko Djuric, a new world record in the Paralympic Games 4 years ago for S4, but Daniel Diaz is the current world record holder in S5. He's the reigning world champion, he's the defending champion. 9 medals in 2008 for Daniel Diaz, which made him the most decorated Paralympian in Beijing. 6 golds in London. And then Andrew Mullen, the 19-year-old Glaswegian, who's been making a real splash. It's 4 gold and 2 silver in Eindhoven at the European Championships 2 years ago. Very impressive indeed. So, under starters' orders, all the 8 swimmers. Theo Curin, the talented French swimmer, not only strongest event, goes in lane 1. He Shiwei of China, Iroglu, Diaz, Mullen, Vo, Petrocek and Murphy. Diaz, not the quickest start, but he's quickly into his stroke, and Mullen applying a great deal of pressure here. The 19-year-old, 4th in 2012, only just missed out on a Paralympic medal, but going in lane 2, He Shiwei of China is making a real move, and He Shiwei is not being caught. Diaz is not going to claim victory in this heat. He Shiwei, who came in with a seeding time of 40.27, is going to absolutely obliterate that time and touches 35.74. Diaz is only going to touch second quickest, while Mullen touches third quickest. Iroglu of Turkey, a 38.61, but a very fast heat overall, this heat 2 of 2. He Shiwei, People's Republic of China, swimming in lane 2, upset the favourites and defending champion, Diaz. Well, it's still preliminaries, but Andrew Mullen is somebody who wants to spoil the party for the more familiar swimmers.
Well, having finished 4th 4 years ago, Mullen will certainly have his eye on at least a medal. But that was an impressive swim from the outside lane for He Shiwei, posting the fastest time of the day, just 1/100th of a second quicker than Roy Perkins in heat 1, but looked relaxed coming from the outside.
So He Shiwei finishes ahead of Diaz, and Mullen touching for third, 38.19, but quick times from Iroglu and Vo as well. So they will both be through to the final. Zurich, Pinero, Castro, Vo, Eroglu, Malan, Tiash, Perkins and her will swim in the final of the men's 50 fly. Well, that is one to look out for, the men's 50 fly final. Daniel Jersh. This heat 1 of 2 in the women's 50 fly, S5. First heat of 2 sees 6 swimmers, a couple of Hungarian swimmers in Kirsti and Engelhardt. The favorite will be Xu Shihan, 16-year-old Chinese swimmer, goes in lane 4, has already posted a 43-second race. Olena Akopyan, world record holder, which extends all the way back to Beijing in 2008. That's in lane 5, Rika Kejdi, 30-year-old Hungarian. Talented up-and-coming youngster, Xu Shihan, will swim in 4 for People's Republic of China. That's silver of Brazil. Already a medalist at these games, silver in the mixed 4x50 relay. Quick reaction time from Fragoso of Portugal, who gets off quickly, the 36-year-old, but straight into a stroke. Going in lane 4 is Xu Shihan of China, while Keshdi alongside her. The Hungarian from the capital city, Budapest, is trying to hold on here, but the Chinese swimmer is just streaking away. It's not going to be disrupted, and the favourite coming into these morning preliminaries, the heats in the 50 fly S5, is not going to disappoint. Just swimming a little alongside the lane rope, but she is going to touch first in a comfortable time of 43.9. Kirsti touches second. The battle for third overall in the preliminaries, which is about posting time, sees silver touch, much to the delight of the home fans, who are cheering every Brazilian swimmer in the pool, as you would expect. But Xu Shihan of China goes sub 44 seconds and around about the mark that she's been setting consistently in recent months. While Hungaria's Keshdi and silver of Brazil touch second and third respectively.
Well, it was a consistent swim by the Chinese athlete. Keshdi couldn't quite stick with that stroke rate that Xu Shihan managed to maintain throughout the 50. Just outside her personal best, but looked inside her comfort zone.
So Xu ahead of Keshdi, ahead of silver. Birnbaum, Engelhardt, Fragoso will have to wait for the second heat to see if they advance to the final. This is the second heat of 2 in the women's 50-meter butterfly for S5. Kovchenko, Cunnington, Chavel, Rung, Perales, Giretti and Osterk. Sarah Louise Rung, already bronze in the 200 free, which was her favourite event, but Sarah Louise Rung is undefeated. That's the smile of Perales, Teresa Perales, at 40 years old, still going strong. Alongside her, though, is Rung. Rung, the defending champion. Cunnington of Canada goes in lane 2. She'll have the Belarusian Natalia Shabel between her and the favourite Rung. Giretti going in lane 6, and on the outside for Turkey, Sevilay Ozturk going in 7. Here is Ozturk. Now Rung, undefeated in major competitions in this event since she began competing in 2009. When I say she's a favourite, I do not mean it lightly. But an opportunity for Perales, who's getting back to her very best after taking 2 years off, to enjoy being a mother. Recently returned to the sport, and the 40-year-old is still going strong. Already a silver medalist in the 200 free, but a 23-time Paralympic medalist, a 6-time Paralympic champion is Teresa Perales. Vladislava Kravchenko of Malta going in lane 1. Well, Perales gets in with a good dive, but it is indeed Ozturk, only 12 years old, who is looking to make use of the underwater and gets off to a very good start going in lane 7, but might very well be caught by the experience of the likes of Perales and Rung. But indeed, Perales is now looking to overtake the young Turkish swimmer, but Rung finds herself well behind anybody else in the pool at the moment. Her nearest competitors, Perales, Giretti and Ozturk, are all well ahead, but she's coming into her own. Shabel is just holding on in lane 3 for a decent time. But Rung is not looking like the swimmer she has done, who's dominated this event for the longest time, last 7 odd years. It is Perales, the veteran, the legend, who touches first for Spain. Giretti touches second, Shabel touches third. So Rung, for that time, is going to be swimming from an outside lane come the final, and will have her work cut out for her. The 2004 gold medalist Perales having posted the quick time in heat 2 of 47.73. Kravchenko of Malta coming to the wall.
Perales and Rung just having a moment to reflect on their race. 47.73, the winning time for Teresa Perales. Almost 4 seconds slower than heat number 1.
So the results, a Paralympic record in the S4 classification for Cunnington of Canada. Perales wins. Giretti and Ozturk finishing strongly as well. So Ozturk will qualify the 12-year-old Turkish swimmers going sub-50, but Rung is going to be swimming from lane 1 in the final, and for Brazil, silver makes the final.
The men's 50-meter backstroke S3, heat number 1. The fastest seed, Dimitrov Reinhoradets, goes in lane 4 for Ukraine, the reigning world champion in this event. Silver medalist from the London Paralympic Games. He has Lee Han-ho on his left-hand side. The world record 42.21, set in London 4 years ago by Min Byung-young of Korea. Men's 50-meter backstroke S3. And it's a strong start in the center. Rafan Haradets, the Ukrainian, the favorite in this heat. Silver medalist from 4 years ago. Getting into a good rhythm already. Martinez Tajuola on his left-hand side, currently in second. Lee Hanhao, part of the gold medal winning 4x50 relay for the People's Republic of China. Also going well out in lane 3. But this race is certainly being dominated by Dimitro Van Haradets. The favourite in this first heat, touches comfortably to win heat number 1 for Ukraine, the silver medalist from London, ahead of Martinez Tajuola in second for Spain, and it's People's Republic of China, Li Hanhao, who gets the third place touch. Coming in now for Greece, Ioannis Kostakis, part of the mixed 4x50 relay team on day 2 for Greece. Comes home in 4th. A domination there by Van Haradets in the men's 50-meter backstroke S3, 45.97. That's a personal best for the Ukrainian swimmer, putting him in great position ahead of the final.
Well, he was always going to dominate, the man who picked up bronze, that 4x50 mixed relay that you mentioned. But a good strong swim again in the 50 back. Great rotation and a good reach. Didn't have all the energy, but he knew he was dominating the race, could leave a little behind.
Van Haradets, Ukraine, dominated on time. Martinez, Tajuola and Lee second and third, but they will have to wait as it's the top 8 on times that make it into the final. Heat 2, the men's 50-meter backstroke S3. Tronco of Mexico, Wang, another member of the gold medal winning mixed relay team for People's Republic of China. Boni of Italy, the favourite in lane 4. Zhu, also representing China, goes in lane 5. Gold medalist from 2008 to 2004. And Mikael Fredriksson, the Swedish athlete, goes in lane number 6. So we have the silver medalist from last year's World Championships, Vincenzo Boni, the Italian, in lane 4. The fastest seed with a qualifying time of 45.46. Christopher Tronco, the Mexican, going in lane number 2. Vincenzo Boni will be the one to beat in this heat, number 2. The men's 50-meter backstroke S3, a great underwater phase already for Fredriksson. But now as they break the surface, already taking an early lead, it's Xu Jianping, People's Republic of China, who's challenging the silver medalist from the World Championships last year, Vincenzo Boni. And these two now start to lead the field. Boni in lane 4, coming through with that fast stroke rate. Zhu, who had a wonderful start, trying to hold on now. Very different strokes, these two athletes, as they come towards the wall. The fast stroke rate of Boni might have ever such slight advantage coming into the touch. It is Boni of Italy who touches first. Zhu from the People's Republic of China ahead of his teammate Wang Wenpan, who touches for the 3rd place. That was a very close finish indeed. And now coming into the touch to finish in 5th, Christopher Tronco, Mexican athletes on a 103.68. The winning time, 47.16 for Vincenzo Boni of Italy. Second place to Zhu Jianping and his teammate Huang Wenpan taking the third.
Well, he doesn't get off to a furious start, does Vincenzo Boni, but I recall seeing him at the European Championships earlier this year. A man who, at his first European Championships, of course, went on to impress, emerged as the champion, and then just followed up from that silver medal at the World Championships last year. But he's looking in decent form. Wasn't able to quite pull away from Zhu Jianping, but able to get to the wall first, and that's all that counts. He's somebody who's been steadily improving this season, and he might just be peaking at the right time.
And he looked happy with that time as he was looking up at the clock. A little celebration. Vincenzo Boni, fastest in Heat 2 ahead of Zhu and Huang from China. Also under the 52nd marker. On the top 8 who make it through to the final. Fastest seed, Van Hradets. Over a second quicker than Vincenzo Boni, the Italian. China making 3 positions in the final. And the Italians have got something to look forward to with that final later on.
This is the first heat of 2, the women's 50-metre backstroke S3.
The women's 50-metre backstroke S3, heat number 1. We've got the gold medalist and world record holder from the 100 freestyle, Capitolina. Alongside her, Pereira Barreto for Brazil. Meng, People's Republic of China, the favourite for heat 1. Fedeska already won a bronze in the 100 freestyle, goes for Ukraine in lane 5. Razaglu for Greece in lane 6. And Fabio Ramirez, Mexico, goes in lane number 7. Brazilian crowd will be excited to support Maria Regina Roberto. Made it into the 100-metre freestyle final, finishing 8th. The favourite in this heat, Meng Guofen, the silver medalist from last year's World Championships. Hoping to go one better in Rio 2016. The fastest seed at a time of 51.15. Well inside the Paralympic record that was set in Beijing 8 years ago. So we'll expect to see that broken in heat number 1. Capitolina, Pereira Barreto, Meng Fedeska, Razaglu and Ramirez go in heat number 1 of the women's 50 backstroke S3. The favourite with the entry time almost 5 seconds quicker than her nearest rivals. Meng Guofen, the silver medalist from the World Championships. Alongside her, Olga Fedeska, and the crowd already getting excited as Pereira Barreto goes in lane 3 for Brazil. The Brazilian crowd getting very excited ahead of heat number 1. Just being asked for silence at the start of this race. Under starters' orders.
There you go, Marks.
The women's 50-metre backstroke S3, the crowd erupt as it was a very strong start for Pereira Barreto. And now the rest of the field start to make some ground on the Brazilian. And it's Miguel Fan and August Verdasca who stroke ahead of Pereira Barreto. A strong start for the Brazilian, starting to fade off now. Miguel Fan, the 24-year-old athlete from China, the fastest seed by some considerable margin, is showing her prowess in this event. Still going well, Svedecka, the Ukrainian, in lane 5. And it's going to be a battle for third place as Pereira Barreto really giving it everything to make it into the final. But this heat 1 is going to be won by Miguel Fan, a new Paralympic record, 52.64, ahead of Olga Svedecka in second. And look how close this is going to be to see who touches in third. It's going to come to the finish, and to the crowd's delight, it's Maria Regina Pereira Barreto, the Brazilian, who gets third at the touch. That was incredibly close indeed, just under 0.2 of a second separating. But a new Paralympic record for China's Meng Guofan, 52.64. Outside her personal best, but well inside the new Paralympic record time.
Well, more delight, of course, for the home faithful. Pereira Barreto with another solid swim, this time a third-place finish overall. But Svedecka and Meng were always going to be challenging for top honours. Ultimately, Meng, her quality shone through. Silver medalist at the World Championships last year. And the 24-year-old powering home 4 odd seconds quicker than her nearest rival. Not her fastest, she's capable of going a good 1.5 seconds faster than that. 51-second swimmer at her best.
Well, the new Paralympic record for Miguel Fan. Svedecka second, and to the crowd's delight, Pereira Barreto touching in third. And they will have to wait and see where the rankings put them after the second heat. But it's looking good for Megan Svedecka before the final. Heat 2, the women's 50 backstroke S3. Veronika Gildenko goes in lane 1 for Israel. Mexico, see Heidi Vivina Esteve Perez in lane 2. Lane 3, Alexandra Stamanopoulou competed in the relay final for Greece. And the world record holder goes in lane 4, Lisette Tunisen, the champion in this event 4 years ago, and reigning world champion with that world record of a 50.31. New Paralympic record just set earlier. Lane 5, next to the world record holder, Peng Quping from China. And Conrade, the German athlete, goes in lane number 6. And lane 7 is preparing there, Mexico's Delgadillo Monsif. Peng Quping hoping to challenge the dominant Lisette Tunisen. So dominant in this event. Reigning world champion, reigning Paralympic champion, world record holder. Goes in lane number 4. She's seen the Paralympic record broken, but her qualifying time's another 2 seconds quicker than that. What could she deliver in this heat for the women's 50 backstroke S3? Starter not quite happy with something, asking the athletes to relax. There's a 50-meter event, the start being incredibly important. World record holder goes in lane 4. This is heat 2 of the 2 heats in the women's 50 backstroke S3. The officials just checking that all the equipment has been certified. Delgadillo in lane 7 for Mexico. Just having her equipment checked there. Making sure it all meets the approved standards. And now the whistle is blown to prepare the athletes for the start.
These are generally unnecessary delays, but I understand wanting to get everything all okay. It looks like there's a nodding head going on. So the swimmers are being asked to relax. For Delgadillo, this is going to have her body in a prone position, and she's got her jaw clamped down on the support.
Well, this could affect some of these swimmers more than others, depending on each of their impairments. Because to relax in the water might not be as easy for some as others, and it can start to cause fatigue. This a 50-meter backstroke race. It's about exploding from the start. So they need to try and conserve as much energy as possible in this unusual delay ahead of heat number 2. Some confusion amongst the coaches, I think, trying to work out quite why the athletes are being held for so long in the water. And this really could affect some of the times that get posted. It's the fastest 8 that go through, so this could really affect heat number 2 in comparison to the first heat that was set off without any delays. So it seems as though Mexico's Monsif Delgadillo is having her equipment checked several times. Mexican coach trying to work out quite what's causing this delay. Well, that is now the referee's starter whistle. Sounds as though we are ready to start heat number 2. The women's 50 backstroke S3, heat 2 of 2. And after that long delay, we are away with the women's 50 backstroke S3 into her stroke very early on. Peng Qiuping of China getting a high stroke rate, and alongside her, the woman to beat, Lisette Jinnison, the world record holder, struggling to stay with the fast pace being set by Peng Qiuping, People's Republic of China, who is having an incredible race so far, just behind the world record pace that's held by Jinnison. But Jinnison, the Netherlands, in lane 4, not off to such a strong start as she might have hoped. Alongside her, Stamatopoulou, the Greek athlete, in 3rd at the moment, but now streaking ahead, it is Peng Qiuping from China, who's just having such a strong finish, and she's going to touch ahead of the world record, the first athlete in this event to break the 50-second barrier. Peng Qiuping breaks Lisette Jinnison's world record. Jinnison touching in 2nd, and Stamatopoulou 3rd for Greece. That really is quite a shock there. The new world record for Peng Qiuping of China. Absolutely demolished her own personal best. Coming home now for Israel in lane 1, Veronika Gulenko. Touching in 7th for Israel. Well, that smile says a lot for Peng Qiuping. Her personal best coming into this, a 52.53, and she has just broken the 50-second marker, smashing the world record. The first athlete ever to break 50 seconds. And she is looking delighted with her performance.
Well, it was very impressive. Well, what was most impressive was that with 20 meters to go, she was still well behind that world record pace of Tiernesson's, but the finish was so incredibly strong. And more impressive was the fact that after that unnecessary delay at the start, she was able to produce a swim that clinical and a swim of such quality. I think we're set for an even quicker time come the final. Tiernesson has a real battle on her hands to try to upset Peng.
So we'll have to see if Tiernesson was holding anything back in that qualifier. She was a long way off her own world record. Still touched in second. Mexico's Mercedes Perez finished in fourth. And that was a very tough start for the Mexican, being held for so long at the start of the event. And here's the new world record holder, Peng Qiuping. Will now look to recover as best she can ahead of the final here on day 3. And the emotions now being let out. That was so tough. That length of time being held in that position at the start of this heat really will have affected the performance for Monsif Delgadillo. Lisette Tiernesson will have some reflecting to do, having seen her world record well and truly beaten. Can she raise her game when it comes to the final? Really are seeing some upsets in the pool in Olympic Aquatic Stadium. So the new world record holder topped heat number 2, Peng Qiuping. Lisette Tiernesson, the reigning world champion and Paralympic champion, in second. Stamatopoulou for Greece having a strong swim to finish third in heat 3. And Mercedes Perez a little disappointed in fourth.
It's the men's 200-meter individual medley, SM13, first heat of 3. This is event 41 of day 3 of the swimming competition. The older of the Saleh brothers, Dimitri, is favoured.
We're now having clarification of the finalists for the women's 50 backstroke S3. China topping it with Peng Qiuping and Meng Guofen, the fastest seed, and the world champion Lisette Tiernesson sees herself going in as third favourite into that final.
Well, the men's 200-meter individual medley, SM13. It's an event that, on paper, Ihar Boki should win. There will be challenges in the pool, and well, the event has been dominated by the great Belarusian swimmer. He goes in lane 4 in the third heat. This is the first heat of 3. Dimitri Saleh of Azerbaijan goes in lane 4. Very slow start, but Tomasz Matera of Brazil off to a blistering start from lane 6, but the underwater of Saleh is quality. So into the fly stroke for Saleh, who will finish very strongly. He was a gold medalist 8 years ago in the 100 fly. This one of his strongest strokes, and a multiple world champion in freestyle events is Saleh. So somebody who is capable of starting strong and finishing strong at the turn. Much depends, however, on his breaststroke. But into the backstroke second, then into the breaststroke, and then, of course, home with freestyle in the individual medley. But Saleh in the backstroke is not disappointing. much will depend, of course, on his breaststroke, but then in the free, he should be clear.
Well, really relaxing into the backstroke leg of this 200 medley. Dimitri Saleh trying to give himself as much advantage as possible. Going well in lane 6, much to the crowd's delight. Thomas Matera, the Brazilian, will touch in second as they head into the breaststroke leg. And in the medley, the breaststroke really can change a lot. It's a very specialist stroke, and you already see Klippert, Ukraine, starting to come through on the breaststroke, closing on that lead that Saleh had developed over the fly and backstroke. And this is where a medley really can be won and lost.
Well, Klippert is a very strong breaststroker, and you can see the room that he's making up on Saleh at the moment. But certainly Saleh being closed down in this breast, but he'll open it up again in the free. But the other strong breaststroker, Dmitry Horlin of Uzbekistan, going in lane 3, has made up some great time, and he's overtaken Matera. So Saleh ahead of Klippert, ahead of Horlin, but in the freestyle, it'll be an easy glide to the wall for Saleh. He'll need to still post a quick enough time to advance to the final, you suspect, because there are some very strong swimmers to come in the remaining heats. But he, at the moment, is taking it very easily in this freestyle and might even be caught by Klippert or Horlin. He's not racing it the way he might normally. Hasn't been complete control, but he might very well still touch first. Indeed, he does, just ahead of Klippert and Horlin. And Matera of Brazil quick enough to touch 4th overall after an impressive opening leg of fly.
Well, that was a fair way off his personal best for Dimitri Saleh, 2:16.31. 5 seconds slower than his qualifying time for this event.
But he was taking it so easily in the free. I mean, he's a multiple world champion over 50 and free. He's a great sprinter in the freestyle events. But he was just taking it very easily. I think he knowed he had done enough, and he'll be confident with that sort of time. Anything sub 2:20, you should be looking at a place in the final of the 200 IM.
Well, he did look relaxed on the butterfly and backstroke legs, just losing a little bit of ground on the breaststroke, but the rest of his strokes giving him enough to win this heat. Saw positions change quite dramatically on the breaststroke leg, and that was where Sergej Klippert really put himself in contention, touching just 0.04 of a second behind Saleh.
Confirmation then, Saleh touches only 0.04 of a second ahead of Klippert, with Horlin also going sub 2:17. Matera 2:20.02. We'll have to wait to see if he can qualify. The men's 200-meter individual medley, SM13, this classification for swimmers with visual impairment. Gottel, Templeton, Denisenko, Rousseau, Latica and Bekric. Rousseau of Australia didn't get away quite as he would have fancied. He's a 2:15 swimmer at his best, but it is Yaroslav Denisenko who get off to a very strong start and is showing his ability in the fly stroke, the first of 4 strokes in this 200 individual medley. 1 length of the pool in fly first, then back, then breast, and then coming home in freestyle. It is Denisenko who will take it to the wall, with Jacob Templeton of Australia set to touch second, only just behind, 0.78 of a second. Rousseau a little off the pace, 2.22 seconds behind as they enter the backstroke.
Denisenko putting the marker down on that first leg, and still extending the lead throughout this backstroke length. Going well on his right-hand shoulder, Jacob Templeton of Australia, trying to stay in touch, as his teammate Sean Rosso. Rosso now coming back into second position ahead of his teammate, but at the turn, it's still going to be Denisenko turning almost a second ahead of Rosso. Templeton another second down for Australia. The Ukrainian finding his rhythm on the breaststroke, really using that glide, and he's actually extending the lead further. And this is when Sean Russell has an advantage over his teammate Templeton. Positions changing again between the two Australians. But Yaroslav Denisenko still with the lead, maybe lost a little bit there to Sean Russo, but he's going to have enough as he turns into the final freestyle leg.
Well, Denisenko is looking very good in the breaststroke here and will turn ahead of Russo. Russo at Templeton now, up into third overall, but it'll be Denisenko to confirm his status as favourite in the second heat of 3 in this men's 200 individual medley. 208 swimmer at his best, and he's capable of challenging for not only a medal but perhaps even a gold medal, although he'll have his work cut out for him in the final against Ihar Boki, the favourite. But a good strong swim from the Ukrainian, a 2:12.87. Rousseau and Templeton, the two Australians, touch second and third overall, while it is Latika of Finland who goes fourth quickest at 2:23.7. A smile from Yaroslav Denisenko, whose partner, incidentally, is Katja Stomina, who won the 100 fly on day 2 of competition.
Well, that smile said it all. He's in control of this event, feeling relaxed. And he led from the start. It was a good dive underwater phase for Denisenko. Just setting the pace down and maintained that lead throughout, extending it on the freestyle ahead of Australia in second and third.
Confirmation then, 2:12.87 for Denisenko. Confident victory ahead of the two Australians, Rousseau and Templeton. Now third heat of 3 in the SM13 men's 200 individual medley. Among those in the pool right now will be the favourites. Gold medalist from 4 years ago, Ihar Boki, the great Belarusian swimmer, already his country's most successful Paralympian ever. After 1 Paralympic Games, he's already started his second in positive fashion. Ihar Boki goes in lane 4. And he's really showing his class already, is Ihar Boki. Going on his outside, though, is a Belarusian-born Azerbaijan competitor, the younger of the Salai brothers, Raman Salai, the 22-year-old. And lest we forget the ability of Danilo Chufarov of Ukraine. So those are the swimmers who touch all within 0.7 of a second of one another. But Ihar Boki is the swimmer to beat, a 15-time world champion, 5 gold medals that he won in 2012, and already the victor in the 100 fly here at Rio 2016, the defending champion, looking to just confidently get himself into lane 4 for the final. All he wants to do is beat 2:12 in the preliminaries, you would imagine.
Well, with an entry time 8 seconds quicker than that, it shouldn't be too challenging for Boki as he starts to glide ahead. And that wonderful breaststroke he has, really making it tough for Chufarov and Saleh on either side of him to try and make any inroads on the Belarusian athlete. Ihar Boki just extending that lead now. Such a powerful breaststroke leg, and he is really streaks ahead. Chufarov just edging into second now, ahead of Raman Saleh. And they turn onto the final freestyle leg. Looking a fairly good pace, a strong leg kick from Boki. I'll be wanting to post a strong time to put him in that favoured lane draw. He's in lane 4 now, and he'll want to be there again when it comes to the final.
Well, he just dominated the S13 class at London 2012, and he's completely dominating here. We thought he was going to go for a decent time, but he posts a Paralympic record in the process, a 2:06.13 for Ihar Boki, just cementing his status as gold medal favourite. Chufarov, the 2013 world champion, touches for second, and Raman Saleh Good enough for a third place finish with a 2 minute 19.37. Quality swim again from Ihan Burki. He is so strong in all of the strokes, particularly fly and free, but his back was impressive in this individual medley.
Well, he certainly has made his mark in Paralympic history, and he's making his mark on this event, giving him a comfortable lane draw into the final, breaking his own Paralympic record on the way. And we see him get close to his world record. He hasn't broken that for 3 years. This could well be the environment for him to do so.
Confirmation then, Paralympic record time for Ihan Burki at 2:06.13. He's already the world record holder, of course, his personal best at 2:03.79. So confirmation of the 8 fastest swimmers in the heats. First heat of 3 in the women's 200-meter individual medley, SM13. Very strong start in lane 5 from Ana Miro Beltran of Spain. Stutsenko of Ukraine, the more experienced swimmer, going in lane 4, and alongside her, Prue Watt of Australia. Prue Watt wanting to take it to the more experienced, or less experienced swimmers rather, on her outside.
Coming into the turn, it's just Stutsenko on the touch, but for nothing really dividing Watt and Stutsenko. Let's see what the backstroke leg can deliver. And here, the favourite in Heat 1, Stutsenko now, coming into her own on the backstroke leg. Edo Beltran also having strong backstroke leg, staying on par with Prue Watt of Australia. But this is where Stutsenko starts to make her mark.
Well, she does, but don't forget that Prue Watt is a very strong breaststroker. Of course, the gold medalist in the 100 breaststroke in London 4 years ago, and she'll be wanting to make up for it in the breaststroke, just using the underwater and a good off the turn as well. But Stutsenko has given herself a significant advantage already. Edo Beltran is also a very strong breaststroker, so both Edo Beltran and Watt will be looking to make up a little ground on Stutsenko, who's not really being caught. So it's a good strong swim from the Ukrainian here. Anything below 2:30 would be a good time to post. Going in lane 1 for South Africa, Lani Ferreira, who's looking to gain experience at the Rio Paralympic Games in anticipation of perhaps medaling in Tokyo 2020. Now, Prue Watt, of course, shot to prominence back in 2004 and knows all about preparing for later Paralympic Games. But in the end, Stutsenko on the turn again, so strong and just comes into her own. She really does gain so much off the wall. Strong on the turn is Stutsenko, and a very good split. Prue Watt, not the quickest breaststroke from the Australian this time around, while Edo Beltran just going under 47 seconds for the breaststroke leg and looking to bring it home in second, which she'll comfortably achieve. But first to touch in a 2:31.96, Stutsenko of Ukraine wins the first heat of 3 in the 200 IM. It is Edo Beltran to touch second, and Prue Watt of Australia third. Gomez Batelli of Spain touches in lane 6, and Lani Ferreira of South Africa, 18-year-old, touches in lane 2.
Well, not really any pressure on Ana Stutsenko in that first heat. Over 2-3 seconds slower than her qualifying time for this event. she won't be worried about that. Easily in the lead from the start, extended it on the backstroke leg, maintained it on the breaststroke, and brought it home on the freestyle. A comfortable win for Stetsenko.
Stetsenko ahead of Ada Voltron and Watt of Australia, doing it up for the 2:40.48. The second heat of 3 features 2 very strong and talented Uzbekistan teenagers. Petrikovitskova of Slovakia goes in 2, Bera of Italy in 3, Toshpulatova and Amilova of Uzbekistan in 4 and 5, Paula Lopez of Spain in 6, and Zuzilava of Belarus going in 7, just 15 years old. Toshpulatova, very strong and already accomplished despite only being 19 years old, goes in 4. Getting away quickly on her outside though is Fatima Amilova in lane 5, and Amilova looking to take it to a slightly older compatriot, but the 2 Uzbek swimmers are already looking in front, and indeed Toshpulatova showing her strength coming back. Only took to the water for her international debut at the European Open, and many were impressed with their performances. 10 Asian records in her 6 events, and certainly backed it up with some silverware as well. Gold in the 200 IM, and she's been able to impress in the 100 back, the 100 fly, and 53 S13 events. So she's a good, strong all-round swimmer, and she's consistently improving and wanting to peak at the right time, see if she can give herself a medal shout at the Paralympic Games in this women's 200 IM. But at the moment leads from her compatriot, Bera of Italy, going strong in lane 3.
Well, she is setting herself up nicely ahead of the breaststroke leg. Toshpulatova coming into that tricky backstroke to breaststroke turn. Smoothly done through the underwater. But has already lost a little bit there. Amilova had a great underwater phase on the breaststroke. And it's Amilova who now starts to make a move on her compatriot down this breaststroke leg. So much can change in the medley. Still in 3rd place, Alessia Bera, the Italian, but she'll start to feel pressure on her right-hand side by Petrovikova, a Slovakian athlete, out in lane 2. But look at this breaststroke leg by Amilova. She has just eaten up the distance over her teammate, and it's going to turn ahead. That's just in 1 length. She has just turned this race around, and Amilova now leads teammate Toshpulatova down the final length, and I think Amilova might have done enough on that breaststroke leg.
Well, 5 seconds in the breaststroke leg is so impressive. That's the problem. Toshpulatova is a very strong swimmer, and indeed she's shown her ability in 3 of the 4 strokes necessary in the 100 IM. But starting with fly, then back, then breast, then free. How often we see swimmers crack. It's going to be world record time here as well. Indeed, it is. Amilova of Uzbekistan manages to bring it home in a very impressive world record time. Coming home under 40 seconds for the final freestyle leg. But it was an incredibly impressive breaststroke leg where she made up 5 seconds on Toshpulatova. It's Bera of Italy who touches 3rd. Amilova really made up for it in the breaststroke. That's where she won this race. Toshpulatova has her work cut out for her in trying to take on her compatriot, the 17-year-old, upsetting the 19-year-old Uzbek swimmer. The 2:30 is a good time to post in the 200 IM for SM13. But this breaststroke leg is what separated the swimmers. And then a little push right at the end, just on world record pace, and a final spurt, so a slam into the wall in world record time.
Well, that sets up a strong race for later on.
Uzbekistan 1-2, Amilova over Toshpulatova pair of Italy third. Now, world record in the second heat of 3. This is the third and final heat, and Rebecca Myers, world record holder from Glasgow last year, who's just seen her world record go, 2:24.60 swimmer at her best, goes in lane 4. So Amilova has just broken Myers' world record in the second heat. Dipping 0.37 seconds quicker than Myers' best. Myers is capable of breaking that world record once again, so do not discount Myers going in 4, but she got off to a sluggish start, and indeed it's 18-year-old Colleen Young from St. Louis, the youngest member of the United States para-swimming team in 2012, who finds herself leading after the first 15, but immediately into her stroke. The quality of Rebecca Myers shining through and wanting to prove a point in this individual medley, you imagine. Although she has proved to be so competitive since, she struggled to claim gold 4 years ago, had to settle for silver, did Rebecca Myers, and will believe that this is her race come 2016. Now she needs to prove it.
Well, she might well want to make a point, having seen her world record go, to just prove what she can deliver ahead of the finals. And she's going to be comfortably through to race again. This is her chance to put a mark down and just show Amilova that she is still the one who needs to be beaten in this event. Turning first, ahead of compatriot Young in second. In lane 6, Marta Ruta, also of the USA. So USA 1, 2, 3 as they head onto the breaststroke leg, and it's a gliding, fluent stroke by the young Colleen Young. USA starting to come back towards the champion Rebecca Myers.
Well, it is going to be interesting because Rebecca Young is world record holder in the 200 breaststroke for the SB13 category. So she is somebody who is really putting in times, but Rebecca Myers' time, that's well over world record split time after her terrible breaststroke, but she was under it at the 100-meter mark. She's got the ability at the pool, especially in the freestyle, to pull it home, and she's pulling away from Young once again, who made up for it in the breaststroke. That 50-meter leg, very, very impressive, but it is Rebecca Myers who is going to bring it home. It's going to be outside of world record time, but she is going to be, in all likelihood, swimming alongside the new world record holder, 17-year-old Amilova. So Rebecca Myers goes sub 2:30 at 2:29.88, touches ahead of Colleen Young, and the two US swimmers side by side. Reuter of the United States does not make it a 1, 2, 3 for USA in the third heat. It's Krazov of Germany who touches third overall, in fact. Jenna Jones, 15-year-old Australian, gaining valuable experience, going in lane 1, and last to touch of Japan is Akari Kasamoto. So Rebecca Myers, she'll be focused, she'll be a little ponderous and introspective ahead of the final.
She will be digesting her time. Knows she'll need to raise her game when it comes to the final.
So Rebecca Myers ahead of Colleen Young, ahead of Krazov of Germany, but Myers and Young both not expecting, but certainly looking for medals come final time. Overall, Stetsenko, Toshpulatova, Young, Myers, Amilova, all very capable of claiming medals. Amilova, with a world record, has laid down the marker in the heats.
The men's 100-meter backstroke S10, the first of 2 heats. And in this heat number 1, we see the reigning world champion Andre Brasil go in lane 4. Duchev USA, Dubrov Ukraine, Holt Canadian in 5, and in lane 6, Mianciotti, the Italian, make up heat number 1. Andre Brassel saw himself beaten into 4th place in the 50 freestyle on day 2. But he's still the reigning world champion in this event. We'll go in lane 4, the second fastest seed in this event, fastest seed in heat 1. Won a silver medal 4 years ago. And he won another medal here on day 3. The home crowd already getting excited ahead of this men's 100 backstroke S10. Well, the only athletes who have broken the 1 minute barrier this year in qualifying. The bright green, yellow shorts and cap. Andre Brassel, one of the heroes in the pool for the home crowd. Just adjusting the block for Ty Dutcher, the USA. Goes in lane number 2. An outside chance of making it into the final. The bronze medalist from last year's World Championships goes alongside Brassel. Benoit Hoyt, the Canadian. Denis Dubrov in lane 3. Bronze in the 50 freestyle ahead of Brassel. A chance for these two athletes to battle it out again in this men's 100 backstroke S10. The men's 100-meter backstroke S10. The stadium erupts, an incredibly quick start by Minciotti, the Italian, and now Andre Brassel starts to come into his own, although he has company. Denis Dubrov staying with him. Dubrov, who beat him in the 50 freestyle. The Ukrainian trying to match Brassel as they come up to the first 50 meters.
Well, it certainly is a blistering pace. Dubrov ahead of Brassel, with Dutcher also touching. Nowhere to be seen at the moment, but they really are up in a line. It's now Dutcher with a poor turn who's fallen off the pace. They're coming back with 25 odd to go. It's Dubrov just ahead of Brassel, with starting to come back, but it is Dubrov, I think, starting to pull away now ever so slightly.
Well, Dubrov really has powered it down this second length. Brassel doing his best to come back and having a storming finish from lane 5. Holt of Canada. It's going to be so close. It's Dubrov, Holt and Brassel who finishes in 3rd. That was an incredibly tight finish. Very little separating those top 3. Denis Dubrov just outside the 1 minute marker with 0.78. Holt only 0.05 of a second ahead of Brazil's Andre Brassel. What an upset in heat number 1.
Well, Dubrov has continued to impress, and he's really hit his peak at the right time. Managing to hold on here against the likes of Benoit and Andre Brassel. Minciotti needed to try to close fast, had a fast close, but 3 other swimmers with fast closes able to keep him at bay. And Dutcher lost it on the turn. In the end, though, it is Dubrov who managed to hold on against the vastly more experienced Brassel and Noor, both well into their 30s.
Well, Denis Dubrov already with 2 medals to his name in this Paralympic Games. Goes through the fastest seed from heat number 1. Heat 2 of the men's 100-meter backstroke S10. Krijpak, Plompu, Van der Voort, Anderson, Elliott, Lognieks all go in this second of the 2 heats. The silver medalist from the World Championships in lane 4, Oliver Van der Voort. The fastest time posted in the men's field this year. Set that world record back in April of this year. And a very slow start indeed for the world record holder. It's lane 5, Michael Anderson, who had a great underwater phase. And also out in lane 2, Maxime Krypiak, having a storming first half of his race, leading from the outside lane. And now here comes the world record holder starting to get into his rhythm at the turn. It's going to be close, but still leading. It's Krypiak ahead of Van der Voort. Anderson just touched out by Elliott into third.
Well, Anderson, he's somebody who's capable of producing great things, and he's ranked second in the world over this distance. But all eyes have been very much focused on this young Dutch swimmer, the 18-year-old Olivier van der Voort, who broke the world record earlier this year. But at the moment, he is going to be upset indeed by Krypiak. The Ukrainian is just promised continuing, and indeed it is going to be in world record time.
And that was such a close finish. Krypiak, the world record holder now, just beating the previous world record. Van der Voort into second, Anderson third, and that was so close on the touch. Maxime Krypiak almost lost his lead in those final few strokes, but it's a new world record, 58.25 for the in-form Ukrainian, already Paralympic champion from these games, looking like he's on target to make it another gold.
Well, a strong back end, very strong back end from Krypiak. A 1:03 time coming into this event, Krypiak, but a 58.25 to finish. And the way he powered down the back end after another good turn makes up for it on the turns. Does Krypiak. Very strong turn and a very strong finish as well.
Now that world record broken. Oliver van der Voort of Netherlands settling for second, just outside his own personal best. And through to the final. It's going to be a very exciting race. Two swimmers under the minute barrier. Krypiak and van der Voort will battle it out side by side next time. And Dubrov for Ukraine, one to watch as well. The women's 100-meter backstroke S10. Heat number 1. We'll see Paige Leonhardt from Australia. Ali Ike, Japan. And now Roulette of France, Alice Tai. Great Britain goes in the fastest lane. Lisa Kruger of Netherlands. Shireen Sapero and Mariana Ribeiro for Brazil. Summer Mortimer still holds the world record from last year. 1:05.86 the time to beat. And now Alice Tai, the closest to that on qualifying, goes in lane 4 for Great Britain. The women's 100 backstroke S10, good underwater phase for Ribeiro, and a very strong start for Ali Ike, the Japanese athlete, out in lane 2. And now it's the centre 2 lanes who start to find their rhythm. Tai and Kruger, stroke for stroke, down the centre of the pool this first 50 metres, and it looks as though Alice Tai of Great Britain, the fastest team, is just starting to edge ahead.
Well, it does look like that. It is a battle between Roulette and Alice Tai, and indeed Lisa Keur of the Netherlands. Sapiro, the 2008 champion, touches only in 5th overall. Leonhardt out in 6th, but a big battle developing, a good strong turn from Tai. It puts her in a good position, and she's firmly into a stroke with 25 to go in the pool.
Alice Tai now taking advantage of this clean water. She's starting to just stretch ahead over Lisa Kruger next to her. But Lisa Kruger having a strong finish. Alice Tai trying to hold on the final few metres, and it goes to Great Britain's Alice Tai. Lisa Kruger for the Netherlands second. Roulette of France touching in third. It was a very fast finish for these athletes, 69.64. Outside the season's best for Tai. She'll have more to give later on, she'll hope. Lisa Kruger just outside her season's best as well. Relay of France came home strong in third, but it was a battle between Ty and Kruger throughout most of this race. Ty just pulling away in the second half. Relay of France making it into the top three, just ahead of Brazil's Mariana Ribeiro. I'll have to wait and see if it's enough to make it through to the top 8 and the final. Heat 2 of the women's 100 backstroke S10. Murphy of Australia, Watts Sweden, Rivard, the gold medalist from Canada in the 53. Sophie Pascoe of New Zealand alongside her. Bianca Pap of Hungary, Marie Oosterhuis from the Netherlands, and Spain's Hernandez Santos in lane 7. New Zealand's Sophie Pascoe, already a silver medal in the 53, just beaten by Rivard on her right-hand side in that 50 freestyle event. Well, this could be a chance for redemption. It's going to be a tight race between Canada and New Zealand. Pascoe and Rivard. Very quick reaction off the block by Sophie Pascoe, but it's a strong underwater phase for Rivard in lane 3. And now coming through, Sophie Pascoe of New Zealand. She's made up for that start. She's getting into her rhythm. She's setting the pace early on. Aurélie Rivard will have to react to this. Also going well, Bianca Pap, the Hungarian, having a strong start, just 16 years of age. It's going to turn very close second and third, but it's Sophie Pascoe who's dominating this race.
Well, certainly the standard bearer for Paralympic sports in New Zealand, Sophie Pascoe. She is just showing that she is a 6-time Paralympic gold medalist and indeed multiple world champion. This is a class performance. The gold medalist from 2008, she actually dead heated with South Africa's Shireen Sapiro. Not quite on world record time here, but it's a confident display in this preliminary.
Well, she has reacted very well under this environment and just gliding through to the finish there. Sophie Pascoe wins comfortably, 107.23, over 2 seconds quicker than the previous heat. Rivard to settle for third as Pat just touched out in second. Sophie Pascoe just having a look at her time. Outside of her personal best, but very consistent swim for the New Zealand athlete. There's Bianca Pap, the Hungarian, touched in second. One to watch in the final. Pascoe not looking overly delighted with her time, but she did dominate her heat, almost 2 seconds ahead of Pap. And Rivard just outside the 110 marker. So into the final, Pascoe ahead of Pap. Alice Ty from the previous heat will be third seed. Rivard sees herself going in 4th ranked position.
This is the first heat of the women's 400-meter freestyle S11. 6 swimmers go in the first heat. Start list sees Ono, Tsai, Schulte, Camillini, Stachuk and Rabolini. 2 Italians going at 5 and 7. Camillini, already a multiple medalist. But Daniela Schulte is the swimmer to watch, the German world record holder. Hasn't been going much below 5:20 in recent times. It's her world record and her Paralympic record tell a story that she's so capable of doing so. So getting into the pool and trying to get into the rhythm is the key. Tsai Li-wen of People's Republic of China has not swum this race very often, but already a 5:36 swimmer and looking to go well below that in this women's 400 free S11. But it is about finding a stroke and finding a comfortable pace and then trying to swim consistent splits over 50 meters. Slightly quicker opening 50 after the opening start, and then a turn and go. So often this comes down to finding that rhythm and getting the turns right. Just a little into the lane rope for Camallini of Italy. S11 category is for swimmers with visual impairment, and even the swimmers who aren't completely blind, who are legally blind but not completely, have to swim with blackened goggles. So none of the swimmers in the pool can see anything at any stage in this race. And at the ends, on either end, there are tappers from helpers of the team who just notify the swimmers that they are getting close to the wall, and onto the turn they go. But it's a good solid lead at the moment for Camallini of Italy in 5.
Finding herself in a strong rhythm. Obviously these swimmers won't have an idea of where their fellow competitors are other than the feel of the water. Camallini will have smooth water ahead of her. On her right-hand side, Schultz, the German, just on the other side of her lane rope. So these athletes just brushing the lane rope coming into the next turn. It's still Cecilia Camallini ahead of Schultz, almost a second and a half ahead of the German. Leading a little bit slower now, the time's dropping off for Camallini. She went over 4 seconds slower on that third 50, and it's just given Schultz a chance to start to claw a little bit back. Very consistent swimming by Schultz, maintaining 41 seconds for her last 250 meters. Camallini just not quite maintaining such a straight line down the pool, and maybe affecting her time as she comes into the 200-meter turn. Meets that nicely. She's got back on track. 41.7, that 50 meters for the leader. Schultz dropping off ever so slightly. Consistent swimming out in lane 3 for Chai, maintaining 43, 44s, but just gradually slipping away from the leaders.
I think Schultz wanting to show that she is the class swimmer, that she is the world record holder, but disappointingly has not quite found the speed that she's shown in recent years, and certainly none of the speed that she's had when she was at her peak, which was around the 2010 mark when she claimed that world championship title in Eindhoven in world record time, going just over 5:10, 5:10.77 for Daniela Schultz at the time, but the gold medalist in London 4 years ago with a 5:11.32 Paralympic record as well. But now at 34, she's perhaps past her very best, but still vastly experienced. It's Camallini who's taken the race by the scruff of the neck, so to speak, and is looking to post a very quick time in the preliminaries of this women's 400-meter freestyle S11. Overall, though, in terms of this race, there are 4 swimmers who are much fancied to somehow distribute between them the 3 medals. Indeed, Brainsma and Fischer will go in the second heat, but Schultz and Camallini going in this heat are needing to show what they're capable of doing. And at the moment, it's Camallini who's stepped up, and it's Schultz who's been unable to respond.
Well, China still in third, just missing the wall a little bit there and losing that advantage over Takchuk. But they are now well off the mark of Cecilia Camallini, the Italian, coming into her final turn of this women's 400 freestyle S11. Off the wall now, and surely Schulte has got too much to do. She looks like she's closed the gap ever so slightly, but it's been very consistent swimming by Camallini, the Italian, maintaining very even splits for the last 350s, and she's just stretching away now, really putting the burners down for this final length of the 400 race.
Well, Schulte's just losing pace between the walls, but on the turn she's very strong, and she's able to gain just a little with the underwater, and indeed off the with the power of the turn. But coming into the wall now, it is Camallini who touches first at 5:19.17. So a good solid time to post in the preliminaries, while touching second is Schulte, the world record holder. Italy might very well be in with the prospect of a gold medal in this women's 400-meter freestyle S11. Camallini has laid down a good marker. Tsai of China touches third overall. Turchuk comes home for Ukraine in fourth, while touching fifth is Ramolini of Italy as well. And Chikako Ono of Japan now makes her way to the wall. But Camallini, very consistent splits, particularly in the last 200. Cecilia Camallini, a 5:19.17.
Well, that was efficient swimming by the Italian. She wouldn't have known exactly where her nearest opponents were in this S11 category. Swimmers not able to see anything with their blackened goggles. So if you've got an athlete going well in an outside lane, you'd have no idea. They'll wait to be told their times whilst they have their goggles checked. It was consistency that gave Camallini the advantage in that, well inside her qualifying time, taking off 11 seconds off her personal best. I'm sure she'll be delighted with that when she gets told what a consistent swim it was by the Italian.
Well, it bodes well for Italy's medal chances in the final. There's still a second heat to come, but Camallini confident, beating the world record holder in the opening heat. This is the second heat of two for the women's 400-meter freestyle S11. Kibiuk, Scheer, Brainsma, Fischer, Lee and Nunes Silva. Nunes Silva of Brazil, but Brainsma and Fischer, the swimmers to watch, going in 4 and 5 respectively. Brainsma is the emerging talent at 16. She has swum already some fine times. 5:18 she's already posted earlier this year. Strong start for Brainsma of the Netherlands. Alongside her, Mary Fischer, already a gold medalist at these games. Very slow off the blocks for Li Guixi of People's Republic of China, and looking to make up for it in the pool, while Nunes Silva going out fairly hard. But it is in lane 4 where Brainsma is showing how strong her swoke is. They're just getting very close to one another, the swimmers in lane 5 and 6, Mary Fischer and Li Guixi. And now Fischer just being overtaken by the Chinese swimmer, but on the turn Fischer makes up for it and comes out ahead of her opponents. But it is one swimmer to look out for in the lead. Brainsma is showing some real pace out front.
Brainsma really putting the marker down. I mean, this is a 400-meter race, and she is swimming it to make it look like a 100-meter race. If she can maintain this pace throughout the 8 lengths, this could be a challenging time to that world record. We saw the world record holder go in heat 1, and just not quite feeling her tapper there, and I think almost hitting the wall with her head. This set, Brainsma might have just slightly upset her rhythm at the 100-meter mark, but that was a fast first 100, 110.53. Now going well in lane 7, Nunes Silva for Brazil. The crowd reacting as the Brazilian turns in second place, leaving Mary Fisher some work to do.
Well, this is Fisher and Li Guiji. They are swimming very close to that lane rope, and every so often they tend to bump into that lane rope together. This 400 Freestyle S11 is for swimmers with visual impairment, so the swimmers cannot see anything in the pool. They are trusting their instincts and their years of training. But at the moment, Mary Fisher just trying to straighten up and nearly going into the wrong lane. Li Guiji in the turn. But Breaststroke has found her stroke once again, and she's showing some real purpose in the pool.
You can see Breaststroke just lost some time on her turn at the 100-meter mark, just gave her a slightly slower split. And now she comes into the 200-meter turn, choosing to get very close every time, but dipping under the 40-second marker for that last 50. And is going to have to swim her own race from the front. Fisher now starting to establish second place and almost missing the wall. A very difficult turn for Noon Silva, and that's going to see her drop just behind into fourth after a strong turn from G out in lane 3. They're still going well in lane 4. Breaststroke of the Netherlands coming up to the 250 mark, looking very relaxed through the turn, met the wall perfectly there, and back into her stroke. A little bit slower that last 50 meters, but the turns do affect the splits on this. So the swimming might actually be very consistent, but depending on exactly how they meet the wall, it will determine the actual split for that 50 meters. And Breaststroke still looking very much in control. She's in the center of her lane and looking relaxed.
Well, the 100 backstroke champion Mary Fisher of New Zealand, going in lane 5, is holding on to second, although Xie Qing is managing to come back more through consistency in the turn than making up time in the pool. Inconsistency in the turn for the other competitors in the pool, but Lisette Breaststroke, the 16-year-old from Vummels in the Netherlands, is swimming a smart race, and although she is not quite got the turns right in this race, she's proving to be so very strong in the pool. She puts in a good 20 hours a week.
Well, now just dropping off the pace ever so slightly. Breaststroke starting to fatigue. Her stroke not looking as relaxed and tidy as it did early on. Struggling to maintain that straight line. The final turn now for the Dutch athlete. 150 meters left to go. Just coming off the wall, not completely straight, and hugging the lane rope now. She goes down the final 50 meters. This could well be a good time for Breaststroke. Fisher firmly in second place at that final turn, and Ji Qing from China having a good back end to the race.
Well, expect the orange-clad members of the audience to applaud wildly here as Lisette Breaststroke will come home. She's only been competing internationally for 2 years. The 16-year-old Dutch swimmer is going to come home 5:20.04. And there are indeed the orange-clad army of the Dutch supporters. She's well ahead of any other swimmer. It's been a strong back 200 from Xie Qing, but she touches behind Mary Fisher of New Zealand. And the 100 backstroke champion posting a time of just outside 5:30, with Xie just behind her. While Li Guiji touches fourth fastest. The Brazilian swimmer Noon Silva touches to wide applause, but Breaststroke victorious, a 5:20.04. So not her very best, but we mentioned that her turns were far from being helpful. A little work on the turns though. She's got the speed in the pool, and that's what's key. But she also needs to build a little strength and endurance, it seems, because while she's got the ability to go out hard. She wasn't able to sustain it in the back end and just slowed up a little.
Wasn't quite as consistent as she might have hoped, but she did find herself at clean water, managed to stay away from the lane rope, unlike Fisher, who was hugging the lane rope for much of that, alongside Lee of China for the first half of the race. But you did see the stroke just start to waver slightly at the end there for Lisette Brunsma. Getting close to the lane rope, and the stroke just shortening as the fatigue started to set in. She will be the second fastest seed, just outside the 5:20 marker. And just over 1 second slower than her personal best.
Confirmation then, Lisette Brunsma. A confident victory, swimming with purpose. Brunsma beats Fisher, while Scheer and Lee touch third and fourth overall. Both will qualify for the final. These are the 8 swimmers who advanced. Camellini, quickest overall. Brunsma, world record holder Schulte, and Fisher surely are the medal favourites, but one certainly is going to lose out, and the Chinese trio chasing. I can tell you that we are waiting for the end of the session, because there is still one swim-off to come. We've had a tie for 8th in the women's 50-metre freestyle S6, so we will have a swim-off between Gonzalez and Weber-Traber.
So the swim-off in the women's 50 freestyle S6 to make it through to the final. These 2 athletes tied in the heats. Mitzi Gonzalez of Mexico will go in lane 4. And Sabine Weber-Traber of Austria will go alongside her in lane 5. And this is to make it into the final later on. So they have tied in 8th place overall.
Well, Mitzi, as she's known, the Mexican swimmer Gonzalez, champion back in Athens 12 years ago. She's a veteran of the Paralympic Games.
Gonzalez and Weber-Traber and a very early lead for lane 4, and now it's incredibly close between the 2 of them. The experienced Mexican Gonzalez just starting to struggle to stay with the pace being set by Sabine Weber-Traber of Austria with the advantage. Don't forget, these 2 athletes tied in the heats, but it looks as though the Austrian might have it, although coming back strong at the end. It's Gonzalez, and it's going to be so close again, and Gonzalez from Mexico got the touch. It looked as though she was in 2nd place for so much of that race. Weber-Traber looked as though she had it. Hugs between the 2 athletes, and it's confirmed. Mitzi Gonzalez at 37.98 will make it into the final later on.
Well, Sabine Weber-Traber will lose out on the chance to swim for her first ever Paralympic medal, but a multiple Paralympic champion, Mitzi Gonzalez of Mexico, will be into the final. She's been competing for 2 decades in Paralympic swimming. So confirmation then of the 8 finalists now.
Well, now we can give you the top 8 for the S6 Women's 50 Freestyle event. Paralympic record was set by Mereshko earlier on in this session. Here's the lady that will be competing in that final after the swim-off. Winning the swim-off. See her Austrian competitor.
Well, that is it as far as the preliminary session on day 3 is concerned. 13 events that have been contested this session. And a handful of world records as well in the pool, including the women's 200 IM. Well, it's been another enthralling preliminary session, and indeed plenty to look forward to in the final session, which we'll have, including there's the men's 50 free, the women's 50 free, and the men's 100 breaststroke SB7 finals. The women's 200 IM SB13 is going to be fantastic as well. But that all to come in the final session on day 3 from the preliminary session. The Olympic Aquatic Stadium. We bid you for now a fond farewell.